Hello, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This is a special edition of the Podcast Daily. It's not a daily necessarily, but it is a day where we're going to spend some time talking to one of the latest Ohio State Buckeye additions, 2025 transfer signee Phillip Daniels, originally from Cincinnati, spent the last 2 years playing at Minnesota. Phillip signed with Ohio State in the middle of this past week, spent the weekend at Ohio State and watching the big game on Saturday night in the Horseshoe. And we wanted to catch up with him about the way his recruitment played out, what he's looking forward to about Ohio State, and a whole lot more. So it's going to be myself and Phillip Daniels coming at you right now. Phillip Daniels joins us now. Phillip, thanks for taking time. First and foremost, congratulations on what I'm sure has been a pretty remarkable week for you. I know that people around the country in the transfer portal era get excited about the ability for players to go to different places if they feel like it's the right fit for them. But for you, a kid from Ohio, getting an opportunity to come back and to be a Buckeye had to be really special. What did it feel like to you when this all came to fruition?
It's surreal right now. Like, I still can't really wrap my head around it, but it's just an amazing feeling waking up every day knowing that I'm finally a Buckeye. So it's pretty cool.
That, as you say, finally a Buckeye. This is a process that started with you in Ohio State years ago. You camped in Columbus multiple times as a high school player out of Cincinnati. You are you Paris Johnson's cousin? Is that the correct? What's the relationship with you and Paris?
So, my mom actually knows his mom, and then they've been great friends, and they know each other since they were young. And then my cousin Mike B, he married Miss Monica,
Paris's mom, right?
Yeah. So
you you were a player that coming out of high school in the class of 2023 were a player that a lot of the Ohio-based recruiting people like myself suggested Ohio State should have offered 2 years ago. It didn't happen. But at the time you were, I think, ranked as I look at it now, the number 57 ranked interior offensive lineman in the country. Now you're the number 4 ranked transfer portal offensive tackle. What changed for you in the last 2 years? Where have you seen the biggest development and growth in your own game?
Just in myself, my motivation just to prove people wrong and just proving myself that I can do it every day, and just always making sure I go 2 times as hard as the next person and just always giving them all every day.
When you got an opportunity this year at Minnesota to start, how hard was it to feel like, hey, I belong here? Or did you already know it? Because I think for a lot of young guys, and we saw it on Saturday night with Luke Montgomery, who, was in the same recruiting class as you at Ohio State. Like, sometimes it's hard to feel like, hey, I belong here. And then you get an opportunity in a game and you stand up and you're like, man, I did that. And was there a moment for you this year where it really clicked and when you started to realize, like, hey, you're a college level guy?
Honestly, I just say it like since last year when I was on scout team, giving looks for my boy Ant and Ja. They always tell me every day, like, you're gonna be great. Coach Debo, D-line coach, was like, you're gonna be great. You can be an All-American if you keep working. So I always knew I belonged, and every little chance I got, especially before when I started, I always was out there balling. So I always knew I was supposed to be out there.
You were in the Horseshoe on Saturday night as Ohio State dismantled Tennessee 42-17.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, for a kid like yourself coming back home, you signed your Big Ten scholarship agreement with Ohio State on Wednesday. What was it like for you to be in that environment, and what did you gain? What did you learn about, what to expect at Ohio State?
It was definitely amazing because I've only been for a spring game, so I kind of it still was a lot of fans there. But this was different. Like, it felt like I was in the Super Bowl or something. It was something crazy, and the atmosphere was amazing. And every time we scored or made a big play, like, the fans, everybody was going crazy. So I'm just ready for that atmosphere.
There's been a little bit of, I don't want to say confusion, but a little bit of mixed messaging that we've heard in the media about your potential role at Ohio State. I've always heard from the minute that I heard your name being mentioned that you would likely be sliding in at right tackle for Ohio State. I've seen others suggest you might play guard. what is the plan as Justin Fry has laid it out for you, and why was that plan something that felt so right for you?
Well, what I've been told is come in and compete for that right tackle spot. So honestly, whatever they need me, I'll go play it. But that right tackle spot is what I'm focused on right now.
What do you think you need to do to be that guy? I mean, obviously, physically, you've changed quite a bit since high school when you were 6'5", 280 pounds. Now you're listed at 6'5", 315 in the Minnesota roster guides. But where do you think the biggest change is going to be for you, and the biggest opportunity for you to really take that spot when it opens up?
Understanding the playbook and my technique, my hands, independent hands sometimes, my feet, everything just correlating and just being a balance, not only just a lineman, but just a true athlete. You know what I'm saying? So that's the things I'm working on.
You had a chance to work with Justin Fry when you came to camp in 2022. What did you like about his coaching technique, his coaching style, and how is that relationship now that it's had to pick back up in relatively quick order?
When I went to the camp, the drills and stuff we did, I've never done that before. So I kind of felt like I was kind of bad at what I was doing, but then I would like go home and just do some of his drills outside. And and then it definitely helped my game and stuff, even like when I was at Minnesota, just doing side stuff. And then just picking up my relationship with him, it was smooth. Like it was just like, we just picked up where we left off. So it was pretty cool.
He's a guy that gets a lot of flack from Ohio State fans at times about just recruiting, and because Ohio State doesn't always win the big national recruiting battles, but there's guys like you that are close to home. When you get that call from Ohio State, once you enter the transfer portal, can you just try to walk people through like how much that meant to you as a person and to your family, and why that opportunity is something that you couldn't pass up?
I didn't even know they were going to call me. It was kind of cool. Like when they called me, I was like, whoa, like Ohio State, like, man, it's been a dream. And then I called my mom, I called my grandpa, and I was just telling about like who called, and they were all excited. So it was just, it was definitely a dream come true.
It wasn't just Ohio State though. I mean, you were getting calls from Alabama and Auburn, and what is that like for a kid who was under recruited 2 years ago to go spend a year and a half in a weight room, and then Ohio State and Alabama are calling you? Like, is that, I can't imagine how crazy that has to feel for a kid like yourself.
Yeah, I was like, my junior year only had half a season, and I couldn't really get offers. I had to go to camps and stuff. So like, I wasn't really recruited. So when I hit that portal and everybody was hitting me up, schools, and you remember, like, you know how it is, like when you're sending messages to coaches and you're like, hey, please look at my tape. Hey, come see me. They still got the same number, so they still text me off that number. And you're like, oh man, I didn't want me then, but it's kind of cool though.
Funny how they didn't respond 3 years ago, and now they're calling you.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to about Ohio State, Phillip? What's the thing or two that you've heard from Paris about? Hey, this is what it means to be a Buckeye. What's the thing or two that really stands out to you as the biggest draw?
Coach Fry. I like the way he coaches things. Like I've been watching Paris. I watch who else? I watch like a couple dudes on the line that like you can tell, like if you're a real close like you could watch O-line, you can tell like they definitely improved from last year to this year, and just with technique and hand placement and just like different things within the scheme, and then just the culture here is also something I've been looking into, and then just being a team up north.
How hard was it to not take other visits? I know you made the visit to Ohio State on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, growing up, like being a Buckeye was everything. Like that was the dream. But then you get the opportunity, and again, Alabama's calling. And like, how hard was it to just dial in and say, you know what, I don't need all this other stuff? You didn't get to take a lot of those like cool recruiting trips when you were in high school, and you could have done it now, and you chose not to. Why? And why did you choose to just put it all behind you and focus on getting ready to be a Buckeye?
It was really just a conversation with Coach Fry and Cody Day. just seeing how much they needed me next year, and not only needed me but believed in me, and then told me things I could work on and how I can improve. So I just saw that and I was like, well, this is perfect opportunity, perfect resources and resources around me, and I have a bunch of family up here, so it's kind of a no-brainer for me.
And then Saturday night had to be almost like instant validation. The last 3 weeks, the narrative around Ohio State football has been that the offensive line is a disaster and that Justin Fry can't develop and can't. And then you go out there on for Saturday night and against one of the best defensive lines in college football and maybe the best defensive line in the SEC, they just obliterate them. Was that something that you expected? And how much does that environment and that type of atmosphere and game increase your excitement about being a part of this soon?
Yeah, I was watching my boy Austin and Luke out there just moving dudes, and I was like, oh yeah, like they up here working, and just seeing that, especially like I said, like watching them grow, it was just definitely reassurance, and just watching them just beat on people, and we just running the score up. So yeah.
It's kind of crazy watching Austin right now, isn't it? Seems like a totally different dude than he was in high school.
Yeah.
He still doesn't talk a lot, but like he's pretty awesome to watch out there. As you now, again, you were in Columbus for the last couple of days. What's your plan? What is your timeline for being full-time enrolled at Ohio State? What is the plan for moving into Columbus and starting your work with the team?
I've been up here working out, doing different things. I think tomorrow I'm gonna be looking at some apartments and stuff, and then just making sure I got everything, and then I'll be home. I'll drive down, I'll be home for the holidays, and then I'll go back up to Minnesota, grab my stuff, and then I think it's somewhere in January. I think the earliest January, but I've just been getting a bunch of stuff, hearing a bunch of things about what I should do, like, from my family and how I'm going to be prepared for the working outs and stuff. So I'll be good.
You don't get to travel to California, though, for the Rose Bowl.
I don't think so, no.
Well, maybe we'll still see you there. You never know. It's the way it works.
Yeah.
What is the one thing about Coach Fry that Paris Johnson told you that you have quickly realized for yourself? Is there something that you can pick up on that you've already noticed? Or Coach Day. Let's make that a broader question. Coach Fry or Coach Day. What did they tell you to look for that you've already picked up?
I just like how I personally like how Coach Fry is. He's not just like a person that like, oh, you come here, this and that, you come here, this and that. He was really harping on getting my technique better and telling me things I can improve on, and immediately, and things that I was like, okay, I can do that, I can do that, I can do that. And then like when we're talking football and like I'm translating stuff from Minnesota, it's just okay. He translated back to me, and it's like, okay, we smooth. So I like that.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, and before I let you get out of here, I told you 10 to 12 minutes. We're at about 13. Not a lot of guys, when these transfers happen, have an opportunity to really talk about their previous place and what it meant to them and what it did for them. I want to give you an opportunity. What was the Minnesota experience like for you? How valuable was it? And what would you like to say to Minnesota fans or Coach Fleck or anybody who may be watching or listening to see what you have to say?
Minnesota's always going to be home. They brought me in. It's a great environment. Everybody thinks the culture is like this cold, crazy thing. It really builds you, because like there's a lot of people in life, I think, that they need this culture, need people like to pick them up, push you. Because a lot of people, this generation, nobody wants to get pushed no more. Everybody wants something handed to them. So that place is like, okay, we're gonna reward you, but you got to do the work. And when you do the work, man, it's celebrate with the boys. Coach Fleck is he's a great coach. Tell me that he believed in me and just different things. And fans, everybody was good there. Everybody was good to me.
You'll never have too many places to call home. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's something that I think a lot of times gets lost. There are two ways you can live your life. You can live your life with nowhere to call home or 100 places to call home. And I'm telling you, the people who have 100 places to call home are always a lot happier. So congratulations, Phillip, on your decision and the opportunity to now be at home in Columbus with at least 3 years left at Ohio State. We'll see how long that takes for you to to make your way to the next level. But Ohio State is certainly a place that's going to help put you there, and we appreciate you taking time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Phillip Daniels, I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been the podcast. We'll talk to you later, folks. See ya.